Hello and welcome back to another dumb video idea. Today's plan was based on an idea that I'd had since I was a kid, to walk as far as I possibly could in the space of 24 hours, with the goal of getting all the way to Manchester. Google predicted that it would take about 15 hours, but Google didn't consider the lack of footpaths, the hills, the need for stops, or the 20-kilo bag on my back. So I'm starting my walk here in the town of Chesterfield. I'm going to hit start on my stopwatch, and then from then on I'm going to walk until it hits 24 hours. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Two minutes into the walk and I'm feeling so tired already. Today is boiling hot, I think it's like 30 degrees. Probably picked a bad day to do this, but I'll see what I can do. I've only been walking so far for about an hour, but the whole thing has been uphill and it has killed me. There's 23 more to go. That town down there is where I started, and that is what I mean about it all being uphill. The start of the walk was tough and kind of boring, but it soon became apparent that the lack of entertainment was to be the least of my concerns. So I had planned to fill my water bottle up in that stream down there, but there's no water. But I saved this worry for later, putting it to the side as I continued the walk upwards, heading into the Peak District National Park. Okay, so according to my phone, I've now done 12,000 steps today in 3 hours. Another thing I discovered is that in my bag, I forgot to put my phone cable, which means when this runs out, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I should call it a day and just go to bed in that. By this point, I'd reached a site called Shiloto Woods, a woodland 8 miles away from where I'd started, and the last one that I'd walked through before I entered the national park. So I found some water, but I don't think I should drink that, to be honest. Okay, so fun story about the last woods that I just went through. As I was going through it, I thought I saw the back end of a horse in the woods, but as I went closer, it turned out to be the back end of a person. It was an old man having a poo. These hills are honestly starting to kill me. But these steep hills soon came to an end, as I left inhabited land and entered what seemed to be flat, endless fields of nothing. Although to my surprise, I did find one thing that I totally didn't expect. Check this out. Just found an abandoned reservoir. The place I'm at now, there's not even a path. Just empty. The further I wandered in, the more I began to realise that this land wasn't at all uninhabited, but actually more the opposite. It was a wildlife haven and the perfect place to get some food. So, update. I have no idea where I am. I am so hot at the moment, it's gone up to 29 degrees. But basically a few minutes ago I accidentally woke up a deer in this ditch in the grass. A deer was just lay there. It's pretty cool. Anyway, it's 3 o'clock now, which means the sun goes down in 5 hours. I've been walking for about 4 hours now, and my step count is at 17,500. I reckon by the end of today it's going to be up in the 30s. These moorlands were so much harder to navigate than I'd expected, so it felt absolutely amazing when I eventually found an actual path. It's a path! I've gone through 2 bottles of water and that is now all I've got left. A new objective is to find some water. I had come up with a plan to get more water, but sadly the path that I was on didn't lead there, and a local action man advised me against going to my planned route.
No, I wouldn't go through there because it's like boggy.
Okay.
It's so difficult to walk through it. If you find yourself and you've lost the path, I would just go straight back.
Yeah.
Because it's a killer, mate.
So that's where I need to go if I want to get further away. But that guy's just told me that the path down there is mental. But surely that path can't be any worse than what we've just done. So I think I might take it. That looks like a shortcut. Never mind. Apparently there's a left coming up down here that I can take, but I can't see one anywhere. It's just a cliff edge. So I've just seen a signpost for the Grouse Inn, which is the pub down there. So the new plan is to go to the pub, get my water refilled and keep going. It's closed. So it turns out the pub doesn't open till 6, which means if I want to get water there, I have to wait an hour and a half, and I do not have time for that. So I continued on, through a miniature woodland, past a dog that wanted me dead, and into an expensive neighbourhood full of mansions and posh people. Man, look at the driveway that house has got. That in there is the nicest house I've ever seen. It's weird how 10 minutes ago I was in the middle of nowhere, and now I'm in some millionaire neighbourhood. And in posh neighbourhoods come posh pubs. So, I've just found a posh pub. I'm not sure they'll give me water, but it's worth a shot. Okay, sure, this guy did have a point.
But you didn't have to say it.
But anyway, yeah. Water is back. We are now at 25,000 steps, but somehow I've only been walking for less than 6 hours. There's a long way to go yet. Well, that's kind of cool. Padley Chapel opening 2019. Man, it's just a bunch of old ruins. This path feels like it just goes on forever, which is annoying because the sun is going down. It's not the ideal place to be when it goes dark. If I didn't have all my stuff on me, I would definitely go in that. Nice view down there. But another thing I've learned today, anywhere that looks nice, it's hard to walk through, because it's always the scenic hills and stuff you have to walk up and down, and that makes it so much harder. With the sun on its way to bed, I now had less than 2 hours left until total darkness. It's 6 o'clock now, which means I've been walking for about 7 hours. It's starting to get dark and you can tell. At the same time, it's also getting cooler, so that's making it a little bit easier for me. Anyway, I don't know what the plan is. I'm just going to keep walking, just see what happens. I passed by a small village, which happened to have a shop at which I managed to buy a new charger. But sadly, it couldn't charge me, and I was feeling absolutely defeated and dead. So it's got to the point now where it's not fun at all. Even though there's a nice view ahead of me, I can't feel my feet. And I'm fairly sure that's a bad sign. They hurt so much, but they're pretty much numb. I do feel like quitting, if I'm honest. They might be the cutest cows I've ever seen. Sadly, these cute cows were to be one of the last things I'd be able to see, as the sun went down and total darkness set in. But the sun wasn't the only thing to have left, so had my energy. And it got to a point where I was honestly thinking about just finding a bus and heading home. But nevertheless, I decided to continue and walk into the somewhat creepy darkness of the national park. So, these are the kind of issues we're faced with now. There's literally a train track down there. Despite giving me bad sunburn, I was missing the sun so badly. When it's dark like this, it's almost impossible to follow the paths. And that's why it's kind of dangerous. I'll keep going on into the night. See, there's no paths. I need to be on that side of the fence. That's the issue with the dark. I don't know where the path is. I don't think I've seen another human being now for about 2 hours, maybe 3. I don't know what I was meant to say, but I'm going to take that one. After a short while walking down this path, I came across some things which I'd forgotten existed. Houses. Oh my days. It feels so weird being around people again, but it also feels a little bit more comforting. Believe it or not, this ghost town was actually Castleton, the village that I'd explored in a video about 2 months ago. But this time there were no ice creams or cave tours, and instead of being an excited tourist, I felt more like a dying sloth. So I decided to head for a spot which would be a good place to camp and spend the night underneath the stars. The mansion has been built. I'll be honest, I feel like I'm lying in a coffin right now. My whole body just aches, my feet are gone. There's not enough room to move or lean up or anything. Anyway, I'm going to get a night's sleep, hopefully, if no one kills me. I'll get up early tomorrow morning. I'm going to try and smash out as much walking as I can. But early in the morning, my worries of dying became legit, as something started scratching against my tent. However, a short while later, the suspect was exposed. It was the local sheep, waking me up to ensure that I continued the mission and didn't miss the morning view. So it was quite cold last night. All my camera batteries are drained, and I've only got one left. But on we go. I walked on, down the hills and into the mist, unable to see anything for about half an hour, until eventually I got past it and found the nicest place I'd seen in a long time. Wow. This scenic valley was absolutely insane, and with the sun just up, I'd gotten there at the perfect time. A mix of mist and sunlight made it the perfect view, as I looked back at where I'd come from and decided that this would be the perfect place to end the video. I'm dead, my feet are gone, and I'm also low on water, which is a big issue. The fact is, if I keep going any further, I'm going to be in like moorlands. It's not a sensible option anymore, so I have no choice but to end this video here. But you guessed it, I didn't actually end the video here. Instead, after finding out that I still had a couple of hours to go until I hit 24 hours, I decided to hike on into the hills until I found a way of getting home. After a bit of time admiring more nice views and the world's most pointless gates, I found a way back, and a few hours later, I was back home and back to sleep. So, what exactly did I achieve in this 24 hours? Well, according to my phone, I walked a total of 48 kilometers, climbed 201 floors, and did 65,000 steps. Sure, I failed to achieve my goal of getting to Manchester, but the 24 hours was certainly a success, as I visited spots I'd never seen before, spoke to people I didn't know existed, met some cute cows, and spent the night under the stars. It was a massive challenge, full of ups and downs, but the whole journey was an adventure. And to me, that's what life is all about.